Welcome to Keepers of the Word. We're an esoteric study group of Freemasons. Our purpose is sharing knowledge of mystery schools and debunking misconceptions about Freemasonry. You're here with Mike and Ron. Thank you for tuning in. Any of the opinions expressed on Keepers of the Word do not reflect the opinions of other organizations or Masonic lodges. They're ours only.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So, this episode, we are talking about
We're talking about psychedelics, hallucinogenics, experiences with such, personal experiences with such. We're here on an annual pilgrimage, if you will. This is the first time in this location. It's a really, really cool little western town. We're standing in the saloon of western town right now. So it's going to be an interesting weekend.
it's already started off well. I think that sets the tone for the journey. You know, getting to a place where you feel comfortable. And the energy. I think the energy is very, very important. Then, planning your day out and doing those things and braving the weather because it's hella cold over here.
Pretty chilly.
But other than that, when you have good people, you have good, a good experience planned out, then of course, moving forward, you're expected to have a great journey. I believe the last couple times we did this, they were all in different locations, and each one is special in its own way. Growing up, when you are introduced to psychedelics, you probably don't have a guide, and I think it's like really important to have one, especially going down that journey or that path, because it could get pretty intense, especially if you don't watch dosage or if you don't understand what you're doing or why you're doing it. How do you feel about that?
Absolutely. I think I was not a young guy when I was doing mine. My first psychedelic experience was 4 years ago. The first time, yeah. When we were at Yucca Valley, out and actually closer to Joshua Tree, and we had the big boulders right immediately behind the house that that was my very first experience. So, I was in my 40s, mid 40s when I did it, and
the rocks were angry.
The rocks were dicks. They were angry. They had a negative energy that I didn't like. But yeah, definitely having a guide and it felt like we had one with us that was there that sometimes could be serious and sometimes could be quite the joker. So
Loki, man.
Yeah, and he was definitely the Joker Loki the second time we were out.
I think every experience is unique. Understanding the dynamics of who you're with and what you're trying to accomplish. I mean, for me, I think it's understanding fear in general, and whatever's in front of you, deal with it. You've probably been putting it off all year, whatever that may be. But you need to deal with it. You need to step up to it, and you need to go through it, get through it, and try to persevere, be vigilant. When you're done with that trip and, whatever you went through, you feel super empowered. You feel like you've accomplished something and now you're focused. Now, unfortunately, that focus doesn't last forever, but it gives you a sense of accomplishment, a sense of being. A
purpose of direction.
Because I feel like you connect with everything and you realize you're not your fucking khakis. You're not here to just earn money and die. There's more to this life than just that. I think understanding that we are all connected and there's a greater purpose is what really living life is to me. And having these retreats and these purges, I think is super beneficial, mentally and physically. You put your body through a lot, but at the same time, you're kind of getting this negative out of you, and you're expelling it, and you won't accept it anymore, and you move on. You transcend, you ascend. You're on a different plane, a different level. That's my take on psychedelics. Everybody probably has a different view of what they are, but that's my take, and I'm not here to down anybody else's view. Just
And you know, it's not for everyone.
No.
There's a recent article that just came out about the likelihood of having psychosis with using marijuana on a daily basis. So, you know, obviously any kind of psychedelic can lend to some type of psychosis. And I think that it takes a strong psychonaut to be able to know that you're going to journey through psychosis and be able to come back from it. So people that are prone to psychosis, or people that take, you know, medication for depression or for whatever, if you're taking Prozac or something like that, this might not be for them. You know, because,
it might be too much for you.
Because they're already dealing with, I think they already struggle with dealing with parts of their psyche that the psychonaut is able to manage through. So
I think being very, you knowing what you're doing, if you already have mental issues, and whatever those issues are, I'm not trying to, downplay anybody,
Absolutely.
just whatever those issues are, maybe you shouldn't do this. No. This isn't an answer, because it can make it worse. For those of you that feel, no, I'm fine, but I want to extend my journey, my spiritual journey. This is definitely a catalyst to that. It's very humbling. It's a really, really raw experience. It's something that you'll never forget. And each one that I've had, ever since we started 4 years ago, has been unique, and I've taken something different from each one. So I'm looking forward to what we have in store this weekend. It's looking like another. It's looking fun, because we set it up in this cool little western town where, we got koi ponds, we have a peacock farm.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really nice out here, and that's kind of like what we want. We want to be able to set ourselves in an environment where, one, we're not going to be bothered,
setting,
and two, we're at peace and
set.
beauty, right? The beauty of nature, communing with nature, being one with nature. I think that's very, very important. Now, do we want to move on to some questions if anybody's on this early? No, normally we don't go on this early, but
we got plenty of people.
We got plenty of people. So let me see what we got going on, and we'll answer some questions.
And I'll fill in the meantime. We're talking about, sometimes this isn't a fun experience.
No.
But you do it because the benefits that you get out of it are so worth it.
Definitely not. Like, I want to say the last two were very, very hard for me. And I've expressed that to you guys. I feel like I went through a lot because I was probably going through a lot. So whatever you're going through, that's kind of what you're going to face at that moment.
It's going to be intense.
Don't have a choice. Sure. It's like it's in your face. You got to deal with it, and you got to get through it, because there's no like, I want off.
Yep.
You're
strapped. Once you're strapped into the roller coaster, you're not getting off until the ride's done.
They're not turning it off.
That's it.
The worse trip, the better the outcome. You know what? That is possible, because there was one time where me and you at Coulterville, we were both like heavy, and since that happened, I feel nothing was that strong, or nothing was that crazy, other than that trip. I feel that trip itself was so heavy for me that I thought I was going to lose my mind at some point, and then I started gradually coming down, and then I gained this confidence. So yes, the worse it is, I felt super empowered afterwards. I felt like, wow, I did something awesome,
I think the last time we went out, when we were back in Yucca, was the toughest for me. And I personally believe that it was because I was physically ill. I had a cold. I wasn't feeling well. I didn't have good energy. And when I went on the journey, it was the toughest journey that I had done of the four.
Yeah, you looked like you were sacrificing yourself to the gods.
And yeah, it was hard, but I definitely got something out of it. Was that I learned that I need the state of mind I need to be in when it comes time to do this journey.
Yeah, I think it's different for everybody. Just be prepared. Have a good team around you. Look after each other. Most important, and be safe. Understand dosage, man. Like even an eighth, I feel is just too much, man. I think that's just somebody may disagree with me, but that's okay. For me, that's way too. I think half of that, if you're going to start, half of an eighth would probably do you good.
For starts, absolutely.
Yeah, to do you good,
start
to
lower to learn,
and then you decide from there. But a whole that's going to send you off the deep end, and you might not have a good experience. It's all about having a good experience.
Terrence McKenna said 5 grams of dried shrooms was the magic number for ego death, and
somebody just asked that
breakthrough. So
yeah. So do you undergo ego death because of it? And I'm sorry, what was your answer right there?
Well, like I was just saying, Terrence McKenna claimed 5 grams was that magic number for psilocybin. And personally, I haven't gotten there yet. That's a goal for me. It's a goal for me. I want to get there, but and after talking with Lon from the last episode that we were on, listening to being able to do a practice of yoga and Kabbalah and be able to get to a point where you have ego death, I'd say I'm probably more inclined to head the meditation route to try to do the ego death than I would be on psychedelics. But it's the goal's still out there.
That's cool. I mean, me personally, I think I'm going the other way around because I started very young. I started doing this when I probably shouldn't have, and of course at that time I didn't have anybody guiding me. Now that I'm older, I feel like I don't really need to go that far anymore. I feel like just a little bit's good enough for me, and that's where I'm at, and I'm fine with it. So, to each their own, right? There is no wrong. Just be safe. Most important is safety first.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So if there's any other questions we have, we normally don't go this early.
I'll talk about Peru if you want.
About
Ayahuasca.
Yeah, sure.
Definitely.
No problem. I had a chance year before last in 2017, the summertime. I took a trip to South America with my daughter, and we met in Cusco, and we're there for 2 days to acclimate to the elevation, and then we decided to go on a 3-day trek across Salcantay, which is one of the highest peaks in Peru, on our journey to go to Machu Picchu. So that was the beginning of that trip, and when we wound up in La Paz, we found a lady that was involved in doing ayahuasca ceremonies, and we went and met with her at the offices there in La Paz, and it was a good feeling. We immediately connected with her. The pre-interview she did was really to determine what our psychological state was and what we were there for and what we hoped to accomplish. And even just talking with her was pretty cathartic. We had a little bit of a purge just chatting with her. I know my daughter came out, she was crying, and I kind of got into some deep stuff too when I was talking with her. But we determined this was going to be the right person to deal with, the right group to go with. So we went out to the hills in Bolivia to a resort called Alcamari, and pretty much had most of the place to ourselves. There was one other guy that was traveling from Poland that was with us, and we did the whole weekend retreat thing where we got meals, and they had like domiciles for us to sleep in. And then on the second night there, the shaman came in about 8 o'clock, and he brought probably close to 10 people with him. It was around 13, somewhere between 13 and 15 people total that went into the circle and decided to take the ayahuasca. And the shaman had an assistant, and he and his assistant also took the medicine as well. And it was a pretty standard journey of about 6 hours, between 4 and 6 hours on the whole thing. And
Was it rough?
it was absolutely rough. There was 4 different journeys that our shaman talked about that could be possible: a spiritual, an emotional, and I forget the other ones. But he said that Madre Ayahuasca will take you on the journey that you need to go on, and that there will be some kind of a purge. And for most people, that purge is vomiting. A lot of people, they give you a freaking chum bucket, and a lot of people are throwing up. You can hear it in the tent. You can hear people. It's not a tent. It's more of a mud hut, kind of like a womb, an earthly womb, so that we can rebirth when we're coming out of there. But yeah, my purge was tears. Luckily, I didn't. I think I did well with the diet they recommended, and I think my body was prepared to take the medicine. But my purge was tears, and I definitely had an emotional journey. It wasn't fun. It was hard. It was beautiful. It was scary. It was lots of emotions in one. And after trekking across Salcantay, I had stated that was the most physically and psychologically difficult thing I had ever done, because the elevation there, Cusco alone's over 2 miles up, and then once you're crossing Salcantay, it's like 12,000, something like that. So it's crazy hard. And then when I got done with that, I went and did something that was the most emotional and spiritually difficult thing I'd ever done in my life with the ayahuasca ceremony. But it was great. It was great. And it tapped into pieces of my psyche that I'd forgotten about. The thing that stuck with me the most was that I heard a lullaby that my mom used to sing to me when I was a kid.
Shit.
And I hadn't heard that lullaby in over 40 years, but I heard it. And at the time, my dad had already been diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. So she had been dealing with my dad's cancer, and it pretty much told me that it was time for me to go back and take care of him. She took care of you when you were young. It's time for you to take care of her. So that's what I got out of that, and that was worth every bit of the journey.
And a lot of people, they hear the emotion behind it, and I feel that, a lot of people probably think, wow, I don't want to go through that. But technically you do. You do need to go through that. You need to go through that to get through it. And I think that's where the emotional blockage is of Daniel Alexa, what he was talking about. Those are the things that we need to revisit. And if you're not doing it with a hypnotherapist, and you do it with, psychedelics, or shaman or whatever, it's kind of the same thing. You have to deal with it. You have to get through it, and it does make you stronger and wiser, for the most part. As long as you don't repeat the problems that you're doing, you're doing the right thing.
Sometimes you need. I mean, the medicine's not the cure-all, end-all problems on a one-time situation. Lots of people that take ayahuasca medicine do it many years and work through many problems. So and I think the psilocybin's the same way. If you use psilocybin as a teacher, it's going to teach you what you need to receive at the time that you are sharing energy, sharing consciousness with the plant. Any other questions?
Any other questions? Let's see if anybody's awake. I know it's early, guys. These guys woke me up at 5 in the morning.
Hey, at least I got the coffee started.
It was a wild night that ended early, unfortunately.
Early for you.
If we don't have any questions, let's talk about what we're getting into next week. We do have Siren of the Temple of Lightning, the Order of Lightning. She's going to be talking about, we're going to have the conversation on the Real Society and women orders, women in the occult, women in magic.
Nazi occultism.
not that they're associated with women in magic or anything.
Right.
It's just part of the real topic. So we're looking to have some fun there with that, because that topic can go on for hours. So we're going to cover that with Siren. I think her website's templeoflightning.com. We'll get that information to you. After that, I think in the next couple of weeks we have a big surprise coming up for a very large event that we will be putting on, Keepers of the Word. So we would hope to get as many people involved, other orders, whether it's Rosicrucians, OTO, other orders that want to come in and be a part of what we're about to do. We're going to have some information so that we can reach out to us and get it out there and have a good time. It's about education, and it's about, informing each other and unity on top of all of that. So other than that, I think we're done.
I want to. I do want to say a quick thank you, shout out to Carl Hearn, the Bearded Builder. I got my Memento Mori bottle. I've already tried it. It's a great smell, and the talisman will be set up on our regular location setting next week. So just wanted to say my thanks there. Appreciate it, Carl.
So alterego.com or ascendedmasters.com. You
Yeah,
get his stuff at
ascendedmasters.com,
ascendedmasters.com, bearded builders.
No.
And go check him out for all his stuff. Again, Fraternal Ties, they have some awesome stuff. Anybody else we're forgetting that puts out stuff? Fossil Bluff, love his stuff. If you ever check out his stuff, Masonic City for our pins, that's who did our pins. LA Fraternal, and
Are they going to be doing a new website coming?
I think so. It's a possibility. It's in the works. But LA Fraternal for all Masonic needs or fraternal needs, and that's it.
What about our producers and our producer sponsors?
Our producer sponsor. Our producers, Indigo Beehive Creative, IndigoBeehiveCreative.com. We're sponsored by One World Stage and Screen, Performance G Motorsports. What else? I think Event Pirates, which is coming soon, and that should be it. Unless you got something more.
I'm good. If there's no more questions we got for answering.
Are we doing anything later live?
Probably not.
Okay.
All right.
See you next week.
Yeah.